Video games are a passion I've held throughout my life. My first console was the Nintendo 64, which released the same year I was born in 1996. From that time, I've fallen in and out of love with a lot of different games. Super Mario 64, Tales of Symphonia, iNinja, Halo 3, Fable 3, FIFA, Counter-Strike, Destiny, and the list goes on and on. But none of these games left a larger impression on me than life simulators. You could catch me playing games like The Sims, Harvest Moon, and Animal Crossing for 12 to 16 hours for multiple days on end without getting sick of them. But why is that? All those other games I mentioned are arguably just as good and have their own mechanics that keep you playing. What is it about life simulators that keep me glued to my chair? Well, for me, it's two things: player agency and the criteria for success. 99.9999999% of video games require player agency. That's what makes a video game and not a graphic novel or a point-and-click adventure. If you wanted to be taken on a tour of a magic world with wizards, you can go read Harry Potter. If you want to be a wizard in a magical world, there's a butt ton of video games that you could play. There's Elder Scrolls, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, Dragon Age, and what do you know, Harry Potter. With that being said, player agency exists on a spectrum. At one end, you have something like a Call of Duty campaign. Yeah, you gotta shoot stuff, and the player must make some decisions like which guy you shoot first, but the game follows a narrative path that can't be deviated away from. You shoot the wrong guy, load a checkpoint. You want to explore a forest? You can't do that. You want to hit a civilian with your bare hands? Well, you probably shouldn't do that in the first place, but point is, you can't do it. There is a direct and obvious way to play the game defined by the people that made it. On the opposite end of the spectrum, but still a mission-centric game, is Hitman. Just like a Call of Duty mission, A, where the mission starts, and B, how the mission ends are clearly defined, but the route you take to get there is entirely determined by the player. Do you want to kill your target with a gun, like Call of Duty? Sure, go ahead, you can do that, why not? Do you want to kill your target by having them slip on a banana peel? Guess what, you can do that too. The destination isn't important, it's how you get there. It's important to mention that I don't make these comparisons to say, Call of Duty bad, Hitman good. In fact, I prefer Call of Duty because when I want to play a shooting game, that's all I want to do. I just want to shoot stuff. I don't want to use my brain to think of creative ways to assassinate people. The only thing I'm trying to do is attempt to explain the spectrum of player agency with these two games. A great life simulator for me strikes the perfect balance of player agency and narrative direction. Harvest Moon, A Wonderful Life, a farming sim and thus a life simulator, forces you to get married at the end of year one. But guess what? You get to pick which girl. There's 3 options, and 4 if you have the special edition. The Sims, probably the most ubiquitous life simulator, forces you to buy a plot of land. But guess what? You don't have to buy a house on it if you don't want to. You can just let your players sit on a plot of grass. They can poop and pee themselves and all kinds of stuff. The game gives the power to the player. What the player does with that power is up to them. With that amount of agency, I will continue to play for much longer than I probably should because I'm creating my own story. I'm not playing my way through a script. I'm writing the script myself. But that's enough about player agency. Let's move on to the criteria for success. The feeling of success is integral to almost any game. I say almost because there's games like Fortnite, where player retention is essentially tied to microtransactions. The developers for these games get people coming back because of the sunk cost fallacy and FOMO, fear of missing out. If you put enough money into the game, you're gonna keep playing it because what are you gonna do, just waste your money? And what if the new Goku skin comes out and I can't buy it? Everybody at the monkey bars is gonna make fun of me. Chad runs the 3rd grade. I need that Goku skin. For games like Fortnite, success doesn't even matter. Of course, I know you can level up the battle pass by winning games, but they include an option to pay for it, and they know people will use it. But for a large majority of video games, the player must feel like they're accomplishing something. For a single-player game, success is easy to ascertain because it's usually how the game ends. You beat the final boss, you finish the last mission, roll credits. Defining success in a multiplayer/online game is trickier, but it's still quantifiable. In CSGO, you reach Global Elite. In COD, you prestige 10 times. In an MMO, you get the best in slot items for your character, etc., etc. Basically, find a status symbol that sets you apart from the masses and achieve it. Whether it be getting a platinum trophy or a platinum gun camo, success motivates a player to keep playing your game. After all, the cool kids hang out by the monkey bars at recess, and Chad won't let me in the circle unless I've beaten the Elite Four on Pokemon Red. What sets life simulators apart and makes them so addicting for me is that success is almost entirely defined by me, the player. The Sims is the perfect example to explain this, so I'm going to lean heavily on it. If you had to define a successful playthrough of The Sims, what would you say it is? Achieve all the aspirations and make a super sim? Sure, that's definitely something the game pushes you towards. Is success having a massive family with a giant house and a ton of money? Whatever floats your boat. You want to trap every NPC in your basement and force them to paint for you while successfully seducing Death himself? Well, you can do that too. Life simulators are a blank canvas that the player can do whatever they want with. They can cut the canvas into a funny shape, they can use watercolors, oils, pencil, or even throw the canvas out the window and paint on themselves. Of course, there are goals to work towards. It's not like you can stay in debt to Tom Nook forever, but the combination of high player agency and an open structure that lets the player define success creates the perception that there are an infinite number of ways to play. It creates that one more day mindset that keeps players hooked. You could have played this game 1,000 times for 1,000 hours, but this playthrough is an entirely different story that you and only you get to write. Thanks for watching my video. I know it's a little different from the typical content you'd expect from this channel and from me, but you know what, I was feeling creative, which is a rarity, and wanted to make something that explains why I feel the way I do about games like Harvest Moon, The Sims, and their ilk. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like. If you want to see more of my content, hit subscribe and enable notifications. If you have any questions or want to see more content like this, leave a comment. And follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and join the Discord. Those links are in the description, and they are by far the best way to support me. Thanks so much for lending me your ear for like 10 minutes. I don't even know how long this video was. But yeah, thanks so much for your time. I know it's valuable. Hope to see you guys again soon.